Hi, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of Awaken to Your Soul Path. I am your host, Barbara, and today I'm joined by the wonderful Heidi. And we are going to be talking about that place where you are stuck in the in between success and not having what you want. And this is a very uncomfortable place to be. And I don't think we talk about it enough because usually people just share success. And that's also what the social medias are about. Look at me being successful. Look at me doing all of these things, having all of these things. But there's this whole period where we're in the in between. So I'm very happy that you're here today, Heidi, to talk to me about this because I think it's needed.
Thank you. I'm excited to talk about it because it is something that a lot of people don't talk about. Social media, you see the highlight reels, you see what's everybody, you're like, oh, look at, they must be doing so great. They're talking about this subject. Look at their smiles on their face. You see posts and posts of different business coaches saying, make 10K easy and, you know, scale your business to making $1 million in the next year. And I think what people realize is they get caught up in all of this language, and to build something that's lasting and sustainable and that you love, let's put the emphasis on love, and that
Oh,
works for you
yeah.
takes time, dedication, discipline to a point, and it's not going to happen overnight, no matter what any of these business coaches tell you, because to build a
Mhm.
business, to build income is going to take time for people to trust you. And so a lot of times I see business owners, they start off, they have this gumption, they're excited. I'm sure you remember when you first started your business. I remember when I started mine, how I was like, yes, I'm going to go. This is going to be great. I'm going to get clients. And then you start going and it's going well and you have all of this excitement. And then you start hitting the ruts where you're like, where are these people coming from? How do I bring more people in? How do I start strategizing? And sometimes we need to really hold ourselves through these times.
Mhm.
And that's where self trust as a spiritual business owner, as any business owner, needs to come into play hugely.
Mhm. I remember the day that I registered my business. I was very excited. I am one of those people, and it turns out I'm rare because when I registered my business, I already knew everything and I already had my website and everything. So I had spent months and months and months brainstorming everything, the title for my business or the name of my business. I registered the domain name, I created the website, I created the texts, I got very clear around my audience and everything, and then I registered. And they told me usually people just have an idea, register, and then figure out the rest. So I did it in the opposite way, which was already then I thought, okay. Did not make any sense to me to do it in the other direction. But also, I remember that I had this notion of people are going to be lined up against the end of the street to work with me, right? I don't know
Yeah.
why, but it was like I had high expectations of the day I registered because, and now it's finally, I doctored everything out and I created everything and now I'm ready to put it in the world. And yes, people will line up to work with me.
Yeah. Same. And you know what? Same. And I'm going to say still same because it's not saying that there's still crickets all the time, but I definitely have months where there's more people coming in with the
Yeah.
work that I do in tarot and astrology. End of the year, beginning of the year. So that like November, December, January, February, those are all very busy months for me because everybody wants to know what's coming up in the year ahead. What's my year going to look like? What do I need to know? And then the rest of the months there are slower.
Yes.
Um and so there are still times where I have to ride this up and down, and sometimes there are crickets, and it's just the nature of business. And I think what's not talked about enough is how emotionally charged that sitting in that space is.
Yes, because it's very confrontational, right? When you have come from months where there was lots of income and lots of people wanting to work with you, and you feel like, oh, yes, and this is my calling, and I love doing this. And then all of a sudden, your packages end and your clients stop, and there are no new clients coming in. And you think, oh, what is happening here? everything that I did before that got me clients is no longer getting me clients. Am I doing something wrong? Did something change? Do I need to change? Do I need to do something more? And then you start listening to self-proclaimed gurus who tell you, oh, this is the strategy for this moment, or that is what you need to do. And so then you think, oh, I need to have like a webinar funnel. So I need to create a webinar, and then I need to get people into my webinar, and then that needs to lead to clients or whatever. I registered for someone who told me, oh, you need to start your Facebook group, and then you need to be active in other people's Facebook group, and then funnel people from those groups into your group, and then be so valuable in your group that that leads to clients. And I
Yeah.
thought, oh, it sounded perfect, right? So I worked my ass off to do it, and it didn't give me any of the results that they promised me that it was going to get me. And then the worst thing of it all is that when you then talk to these experts about it, they say, oh, you must be doing it wrong.
Yeah. Or you don't want it bad enough.
Yes.
You don't want it bad enough. That one, and that irks me so bad because there are so many amazing teachers, healers, guides that are out there that want to put their work in the world. And then they hear you don't want it bad enough. And then they automatically start making that about them. I don't want this bad enough. Is this the path I'm supposed to be on? And you start getting in that cycle of confusion, of doubt, and you start spiraling. And that's where a
Yeah.
lot of businesses end, and they go back and they figure something else out, or they go back to a work that's unfulfilling for them because to sit in that space is really, really difficult.
Yes, and it's also logical that you spiral out of control because these are people who call themselves experts, and you often feel like, oh, I don't really know what's left, what's right, what up, what's down. So you registered with these people in order to learn from them. And if they then tell you that you're doing stuff wrong, then it's very logical that you start analyzing yourself and what you're doing. And we tend to be very strict for ourselves, and then we can berate ourselves, and we can really go into the nitty gritty and blame ourselves. And that's never really helping. But that's because these experts tell us that we are doing it wrong. So I think we are very vulnerable in this in between state where we want something really badly, but we haven't learned how to allow the thing that we want to work to come in. So we think we need to work hard for it to come in.
Yes, yes, and I think there is tremendous power being in this in between space.
Yes.
Um, and just sitting with it because you're not the beginner anymore. You're not that shiny, bright-eyed, I'm starting a business and I've just put my first 20 posts on Instagram or Facebook. You've now been in this maybe for a year, maybe for 2 years, and you're starting to think, okay, I'm starting to learn strategies and how to market. And these are all skills, by the way, you did not sign up for when you just started a business. You're like, I'm just going to post and people will come to me. These are all things that you learn along the way. So you have all of that hanging over you, and then you're like, but I have all of this stuff, but I'm still not there yet. And the power really is in sitting with, letting your intuition guide you. And this is the hardest time
Yes.
for that to happen because you want to fall into the strategies. You want somebody to give you the answer. And the answer is perseverance and you.
Yes, exactly. It's not giving up, perseverance, and getting to know yourself really well. Yeah, that is why I love working with human design in combination with the gene keys, because it allows you to discover how your energy works, how your decision making works, how your specific flavor of intuition works, how you feel it in your life, how to work with it, but also the patterns that are keeping you stuck where you don't want to be,
Mhm.
discovering the gifts that will bring you or take you towards where you do want to be. So I think it's learning to trust in yourself and your abilities by getting to know yourself really well, and then having enough patience to allow it to come.
Yeah. And it's equal parts that and grieving what didn't work.
Hmm.
Because I think that's the other side to the coin that people are forgetting is that you set out, like you said, you did, I did. We had these ideas that "Oh, we're going to go on Facebook, we're going to get on Instagram, we're going to put out 3 posts, we're going to have people lined up around the block. Who wouldn't want to work with me? I know my stuff. For me, it's like I was like, I don't read, I don't tell fortunes. I read from like internal processes. And even when I look at astrology, I can start to delineate these things. People are going to want to work with me. And it's grieving that whole idea that we had,
Yes.
that it while it is the goal and we still want that as the goal, we also have to grieve and release that it didn't happen for us right away.
Yes, and it really depends on your life's theme, how often this happens to you. So I am someone who has one of the most difficult profiles. I'm a 6'3", so you know what that means. For the people who do not know what that means, the three line is the line of trial and error and experimenting and failing spectacularly over and over and over and over again until you find the thing that actually works, and being okay with all of that. And that part was the most difficult part. Being okay with failing, being okay with falling flat on your face over and over and over again, being okay with having to pick yourself up every single time, being okay with motivating yourself every single time to just not give up and keep on trying and keep on going and just keep on doing. And as a sixth line, I go through life also as a third line in the first 30 years of my life. So that meant a double ton of these types of moments. And there were lots of moments where I felt like I cannot do this anymore.
Yeah.
I really felt like I giving up.
And same. There were times I've had times where I've sat like in the kitchen and just cried because I was like, I'm just praying, like, "Hey, please, just take this from me. Do something. I need something to break. Like, I need a break. I need something to give here because I need clients to come in. I need to build something for myself, for my children, and to start this business moving." Um, so it's and I it I'm going to speak astrology because that makes more sense to me. I have my moon in my house of resources. So that means I like to feel fully resourced. And then my sun is in the house of other people's resources. So there's this constant for me push pull of what's good for me versus what's good for others. What should I be doing versus, what should I be doing as far as what other people are telling me versus what I really want to do for myself. And so for me, that's the struggle of trying to like come into what it is that I wanted to do and the struggle of how I wanted to show up. And I
Yes.
had to really take a long, hard look and finally toss it all to the side and say, you know what? I have to build this my way. I can't put out content and follow somebody's strategy and their content plan because it doesn't work for me. I don't even call myself a coach. I call myself a guide. I call myself a teacher because,
Mhm.
you know, I don't, I don't coach in the way traditional coaching happens. I
No, me
read
neither.
cards, I look at the astrology, I say, this might be coming up for you. Here's some strategies that you can work with. Here's what I see that's coming up. Let's map a path together so you have an idea of how to move forward. So I don't even coach in the traditional sense. So
No,
with reading, then a lot of those strategies that those businesses are putting out are for coaches. They're not going to work for me. And
no.
even if you are a coach, they might not work for you because they may not be aligned to who you are as a person, to
Yes.
your energy, for how you want to show up and sell and promote yourself. So that's something you have to think about too. If when somebody's selling you these things to get you out of this space, you have to ask, what is in alignment with me? And
Mhm.
sometimes you just have to walk your own path.
But that's exactly what I meant. That means that you need to have trust in yourself, but also faith in your own abilities. And that's often where I see it being wobbly for lots of people.
Hmm.
And to a certain degree, we're also fighting who we are. And so a part of that is perfectionism. We want to do a really good job, and we want to do great sessions for clients, and we want to be a successful business entrepreneur, and we want to do everything to the best of our ability. And that means that we are not confident in our abilities yet because we haven't done it before. And that means that we often place faith and trust in people outside of ourselves that tell us that they've already mastered the thing that we are still looking to learn, or that they are experts in the thing that we are looking to learn more about, or they are experts in selling, they're experts in marketing, and we feel like we still have lots and lots to learn in that. And because of that, we trust their opinion and what they are saying more than we trust our own opinion and
Yep.
what we are feeling. And that causes a disconnect, right? And so it's when we are in that space where we don't see ourselves as an expert yet, and we are in the learning about having a business, learning about making it successful, learning about attracting the right types of people, we tend to put our trust outside of ourselves. And there are lots of people, sadly, in the coaching space that abuse this. And those are the people that tell you that you are doing it wrong, or that their method works flawlessly, and if it doesn't work for you, then you must be not implementing it the right way. And this is not true. You could be implementing it the right way, but if it's not aligned with your energy, and that is what you were talking about, and not aligned with who you are, what your beliefs are, how you like to work, then it can be a perfect strategy for them, but not for you. And it's not going to work for you how much effort you put in it or how perfectly you execute it. And it
No.
doesn't mean that you're doing something wrong. It technically also doesn't mean that they are doing something wrong. They're just trying to sell you something that works for them without telling you that it might not work for you.
Exactly. That's why I prefer guide rather than coach, or I wouldn't even call those guys
Yes.
coaches. They're more like mentors, as it were. Um, but I think when it comes to being a business owner in this space, a lot of it is, it's going to sound funny, trusting yourself and throwing spaghetti at the wall. Make
Mhm.
it fun. Experiment a little bit. If you have an idea, run with it for a little bit. See how it works out. As we were talking earlier before you started recording, I just started a Substack. Why? Because I was like, I like writing. Let's see how it goes. I want to have a place where I can express myself more so than I'm able to in shorter captions that you find on Instagram, that you find on Facebook. So I just was like, I feel like doing this. So I did it.
Yes. And I think that that's the most important thing. And also that sort of depends on the energy type that you have. But if you're a generator or a manifesting generator, then you are designed to follow the things that light you up. Even when it doesn't make sense to anybody else, even when you think, I don't know where it's going, but I'm enthusiastic. It sounds
Yeah.
like fun, or it sounds like this might be my thing. And then just try it. And then the trick is also that when you try it, that you're not disappointed if it doesn't lead to clients or doesn't immediately lead to clients. Some things are strategies for the long run, and they don't
Yeah.
immediately translate into the huge results that you want right now, but they can over a lengthy period of time. So it's all of these things are so important when you are in that in between state where you just try stuff out, but also don't be crushed or disappointed or sad or angry or frustrated when it doesn't work out. Just think, oh, okay, well, I tried it, and these are the good things about it, and this is what I learned from it. So, okay, good. And then you just park it, and then you go for the next thing, and then you try again.
And it's all about being in joy too, which is really hard when you're in that in between space. So I would say sit with that grief, sit with the confusion, allow those emotions to come through, because clearing them and letting them go through your body, through your heart, through your mind is going to make things a lot easier. And then when you have let those emotions go through, get back to joy. Go back to what made it fun in the first place.
Yes.
Why did you start this business? How can you make creating content, creating ads, however you promote yourself, how can you make it fun again?
Mhm.
Because it's joy that people want to see and what they want to latch on to. And marketing is going to change all the time. There's always going to be new social media coming out. There's always going to be this is trending this week, not this week, but if you can stay at the core connected to the self, it'll come through. It'll come through in whatever you make. And if you can connect to yourself and to your joy and to your passion, eventually it's going to come out and come through in the way you need it to, but it takes time for you to experiment, refine who you are and how you want to show up in in the business world.
Yes. Yes, I had someone tell me, I think last week or something, um, I don't know what I should be talking to you about because your YouTube channel is all over the place and you have all these different types of topics, and it doesn't make sense to me. And I think, well, but uh, I don't make a YouTube channel to talk about one topic. I have my YouTube channel because I want to talk about the things that light me up. I want to talk about the things that matter to me. I want to talk to guests about the things that matter to them. And I want to have just really beautiful, wonderful conversations that light me up because I enjoy meeting new people. I enjoy expanding my horizons. I enjoy also discovering new things, learning new things. And there is a central theme in it. It might not be obvious to everybody, but that's also okay because it is obvious to the people that I am meant to be guiding.
Yeah. And I think that's so beautiful because one of the things that you can get stuck in as a business owner is this is my niche, and so I've have this very narrow view, and that contributes to feeling even more stuck because then you're already going, what is the strategy? I don't know, I need to bring in clients, and so you're already feeling, you know like you're down on yourself and you're spiraling, and then you're like, but I can only move within these walls. But if you allow yourself to open and let people see who you are beyond the business owner, then you can start saying, oh, this is I can make content in this, I can make content in that. And will you eventually find a way to swing it back to your business? Absolutely. I put up a post the other day about me being like an absolute book lover. And people still resonated with it. It was like me just every time I go to a bookstore and me like walking with a book where you could only see like above my eyes. But people resonated with it because it's now no longer here's my business, sell, sell, sell. It's who I am as a person. And people will start to resonate with that side of you as well.
Yeah.
So don't force yourself to stay narrow. I would say make sure you can find the expansiveness and express and self-expression when you are in these liminal places and you're feeling stuck in a rut, because ultimately that's what is going to be like when you can expand on, showing who you are, connecting with your audience in a different way, showing your varied interests, having amazing conversations with different people. That's going to be not just drawing in other eyes and other views, but also people going, oh, this is who they are as a human. This is why I
Mhm.
want to work with them because they understand not just this section that there's their niche, but they understand on this emotional level, or they get these types
Yes.
of jokes, and that's somebody that I want to relate to and work with for that reason.
I've also discovered that that also ties into your energy type. So if I take myself as an example, I am a licensed acupuncturist, I'm a licensed coach, I'm a licensed EFT practitioner, I'm a licensed energy healer, I am also a licensed web developer and web designer.
That's
And
cool.
right, yes. So within my business, I've created pendants like this one, for instance. So this
Oh, that's beautiful.
an orgonite pendant. So it is a
Yep,
protecting energy and it has gemstones in it. It has essential oils in it. And I started creating these in the COVID period because my government had closed down my business and I wasn't really strong online. It was mostly local. All of a sudden, all local fell away. And I wanted to do something creative. And I love crystals. I love my essential oils. And this is still helping people and it's still grounding people and it has different energy types depending on the stones that I'm using. So it's still tied into my desire to want to help people. I also have a shit ton of self help journals on Amazon that I created because I love creating about shadow work, inner child work, self love, gratitude journal, manifestation journal, you name it. This also utilizes my design qualities and my development qualities, and it still helps people even though it's in a completely different area. I can work as an energy healer, I can work as an acupuncturist, I can work as a guide, and for me all of those things are around the central theme of helping people. But people make me feel like, oh, you're like a butterfly, then you fly to that and then you try a little bit of this and then you try a little bit of that, and I don't know what I am going to you for. I think, well, to feel good. That's what you come from. And all of
Yeah.
these things are helping you feel good. And it wasn't until I discovered I'm a manifesting generator that this is actually the way that I am designed to operate. I am designed to like lots of things and to try lots of things and to do lots of things and to just be completely okay with that.
Yeah. I mean, this is why we get along because I'm also a manifesting generator, right? And I do tarot and I do astrology and I that lights me up to like read for people and help them find their paths. And it's such a passion of mine. But I'm also just in the middle of a certification for digital marketing because I found a passion in making my own content and now I'm helping I've got taken on as a virtual assistant by a couple of other social media managers. I'm learning so I'm like, "Oh, this is I actually really like this." I went to school for film and television, so stories have always been part of my core being. So like I'm like that works well with social media marketing, so I decided like let's get a digital marketing
Yes.
certificate. Let's help see how it can help people through that. I'm also writing a novel on the side. Um, and my I decided to do something that you don't see a lot or that I've never read a novel in before, which is centraling two female characters as the heroes of a fantasy novel that is not romantic based, right? Romanticy is a big thing now. But I was like, no, this is a story about them taking on the bad guy and their friendship. So centering female friendship without the romance, being the heroes of a story. So I was like, that is something I don't see and I want that in the world. So I decided to create it. And do all of those things come out when you talk to me? When we sit in a session, you see those various sides of my personality. Of course, I don't hide them either when I'm promoting myself or talking to other people about myself because they're all facets that make me me and they're all facets that connect my clients to me.
Yes, exactly. And that is why it is so important to, I call it get to know the ins and outs of your user manual. What makes
That's
you
a great way to
you?
put it.
Right? Because everybody knows what a user manual is, and there is, of course, I've noticed the difference between men and women. We women tend to read the user manual in order to figure out how to work with an apparatus, while men just throw the user manual out and just try it until they figure it out. And whatever your style is your style. But in the end, it is about discovering how to work with something. And in this specific instance, how to work with yourself, how to create a business that is sort of an extension of who you are, that doesn't overtax you, over ask you, overwhelm you, but that fills you up, lights you up, brings you joy, brings you fulfillment, brings you satisfaction, brings you the income that allows
Yeah.
you to live the way you want, and brings you the people that you are designed to help with your specific unique talents.
Yeah. And being in that space of the in between, eh, even though you feel stuck and you feel uncomfortable, that's the opportunity right there is to go back and discover that you-ness. Because
Yeah.
at every level that you grow, you're going to hit that liminal space and go, oh gosh. So this is an invitation for you to go back to yourself and go, okay, how am I going to grow into the next level? What does this level mean to me? And how can I, start leveraging it for growth again?
Yes.
And how can I take the
Beautiful
next
put.
steps? So it's a beautiful time to like, as much as it sucks and it's hard because been there and you've been there, so we can attest to it not being fun. It is an invitation for growth. It's an invitation for self discovery, and it's an invitation to go back to your roots, which is you.
Yes, and because when we get stuck, when things become uncomfortable, many of us want to flee for it. And we don't want to feel this, we don't want to experience this, we don't want to be here.
Mhm.
So well, lots of us go into the trap of addiction, overeating, drugs, alcohol, sex, buying stuff, whatever makes us feel better or not so shitty. Whatever comes first. And that is still running away from the things that you're actually meant to be feeling. Other times we just stop growing because it's so painful or it's so uncomfortable that we move away from it. And then we want to do more healing, or we want to do another course, or we want to do something, whatever it is. But we're still looking for something to fix us, to help us, to heal us outside of ourselves. Well, in the end, the only way through all of that, the only way out of the in between into the success and everything you want is by going inside, by
Yeah.
looking at the uncomfortable shit and not running away from the uncomfortable shit, but standing your ground and being really miserable and uncomfortable for a while until suddenly, poof, you're through it
Yeah.
on
I
the other
really
side.
Yeah, and so I really love so in tarot, if you guys are familiar with the tarot cards, we have 3 cards: the Tower, the
Mhm.
Moon card, and the Star card. And so I like to liken this journey to that the 3 cards there, because the Tower, we have that Tower moment where everything falls apart and we expect just to be in the Star card. Go from the Tower of everything of falling apart, whatever we've built up around us is now our belief system has been pulled out from under us, and we expect, okay, but in the rubble there's the star, so we just have to. But the Moon card is in between, and the reason the Moon card is in between them is that you have to go through this, or sorry, between, we go from the Tower to the star, so you see that, and then we go into the Moon card before you hit the sun. And before you can get to this illuminated, beautiful, enlightened energy of the sun, you have to sit in everything that you went through from the Tower. You have to sit in those uncomfortable spaces of everything came down, I saw the star, I started following my path. So I want to be at the sun. I want to be shined on. I want the light to be there, but I have to sit in that darkness of everything that happened, for good and for bad.
Yes, yes, exactly. And that I think is both the key as well as the biggest challenge.
Yeah. But if you can allow yourself to be in it and accept where you're at on the journey, it's going to be your biggest strength.
Yes. And what I personally discovered is if you cannot only accept where you are, but also start somehow loving it, being okay with the discomfort, loving the uncertainty, because in the end, nothing in life is certain. We want to have certainty, we want to have clarity because we want to have control, but we
Yeah.
don't have any control. Control is an illusion, control is a myth, control is something that we think we want because we want to steer it in a certain direction while we don't even know exactly where we're going. So if we
Yeah.
can find the joy in the adventure, the joy in the unknown, and thinking, oh, I don't know where we're going, but as long as I think it's going to be exciting, it's going to be exciting. So your
Yeah.
beliefs are very important. And a lots of times clients ask me, but how do I then get clear on the bigger picture, right? If it's not having a million by the end of next year, then how do I get clear on the bigger picture? And I always say you might not be certain about what type of business you're going to have or what exactly you're going to be doing or who exactly you're going to be helping. But the thing that you can always be clear on is if you have reached the thing that you've wanted above anything else in your life, how would you be feeling? And for me, that would be awesome. I would be feeling fucking awesome. And I would love getting out of bed every single morning because I couldn't wait to do the fucking awesome thing again because I love it so much. I have
Yeah.
no clue what the thing is, and I don't really need to know what the thing is. Just I need to feel into oh, this is going to be fucking awesome, and I love this, and I cannot wait to do
Yeah.
this again today.
Yeah. And it's this beautiful thing of, for me, every time I've read for a client, right after the camera goes off, we're no longer recording, they've gone on their way, I'm just like, yes, bring me more of that, bring me more of that, because it's such, it lights you up. And if you can walk in passion with that and remember that feeling, tuck it in your mind, hang on to it, pull it out during those times where you're in these in between spaces and you go, God, I'm slogging through it right now. Things are really hard. Why am I doing this again? And you can go back and remember that time where you really helped that client, really served with all of your heart and soul, and somebody got so much from you. And you go back to that feeling, that's going to be what sees you through these times.
Yes. Yes. Oh, I love that. I think that this is the perfect moment to involve our audience. So, if you've been loving this talk as much as we've been loving having it, we would love to hear from you. So, leave us a comment. Either maybe you have a question, Leave the question in the comments. Maybe you have a sudden insight. You listened and suddenly something clicked for you. We would love to hear what clicked for you. Or maybe you want to share your experience where you were in the in between, or maybe you're still in the in between. Whatever is the case, we would love to hear from you. So leave us a comment below this video. And I can also imagine that you want to maybe reach out to Heidi and you've been loving her energy and you want to know more about what is in the cards or in the astrology for you. So where can people find you, Handy, if they want to connect with you?
You can find me. My main hangout is on Instagram at Northern Starlight Tarot, all one word. Come and jam with me there.
Perfect. I will make sure that this link and maybe you will also want to include your Substack.
Yep.
But any link, any way to connect with Heidi, I will make sure that it's included in the show notes. Probably below this video, could also be to the side, kind of depends on where you're catching this episode. So yeah, thank you, Heidi, for this wonderful conversation and
Thank
for
you for
talking
having me.
about this topic because I think it's an important one to talk about.
It is. Do you want me to draw a card for your audience and
That will be
see how we
awesome.
can help you through the in between?
Yes.
I always have my cards with me. It's not a conversation if I don't have cards. Let me see what's going to come out about how we can, what you guys can lean on for being in the in between. I love that this card came out for being in the in between because it's the 5 of Cups. So, and that's how we feel a lot where we're grieving and we tend to focus on everything that's not going right. But if you turn around, there's probably something you're doing really, really well that you haven't even realized yet. So if this is how you're feeling being in the that in between space of I'm not quite where I want to be yet, take a moment, take a pause and ask yourself, what am I doing right? And just allow yourself to answer that question. You don't have to go through digging through all of your content and say what was working, what was not, and what all the strategy is. But just allow yourself to feel into it and you'll find your joy.
I
You'll return
love
your joy.
that. This clicked something in my mind for me. It's you can only compare yourself to the yourself of yesterday. So if
Mhm.
you feel like you are not where you want to be or you're disappointed in some things that didn't happen, then look at where you are now compared to maybe a month ago or
Yeah,
3 months ago or 6 months ago, and then see the progress that you've already made and celebrate that.
absolutely.
I love it. So there you have it, stuck in between the between success and not having what you want, how it feels, how to go through it, and what it will bring you if you can allow it to just be. I've loved our amazing talk today, Heidi, and I want to thank you from the bottom of my heart for being here this
Oh,
evening. Like
thank you
I
for
would
having
also
me.
love to thank everybody else for being here, for tuning into this conversation. I hope that we all have a beautiful rest of our day, and I look forward to inspiring all of us with another beautiful guest next week.